Julia never dies.
Boo-hoo. This thing is. I think my computer's dying. Oh, there it is. Hey, it is November the 18th. And today we're going over the second half of chapter 22. And the terms we have on the board are Lucius Tarquinius Priscus, Servius Tullius, Tarquinius Superbus, Brutus, and Lucretia. And so we're going to have a lecture today, but we're not going to have a lecture video tomorrow or Friday. But I am going to post an assignment for you. So in a couple minutes, we shall begin.
They already celebrate Christmas. It's not even. I don't understand people.
You don't understand people.
Like as soon as Halloween's over, well, it's Christmas time, I guess. We guess it all things together.
I know. I think it's about marketing more than anything, to tell you the truth.
One of Caecilia's full name, Lucius Caecilia.
It's time. Just one little beat. Hey, all right. So you might have noticed from your Latin class that often Romans had more than one name. So the Roman naming system was a little complicated, but it's really not that different from like ours. A lot of different cultures and countries have different ways that they pass down naming and stuff like that. But hey guys, can y'all sit up straight for me and take the hoodies off? Because y'all know that. Hey Jaden, can you take your hoodie off? Thanks. All right, so we see up here we have one guy who we're going to talk about later on. He's going to be the guy who just totally annihilates Carthage later on. His name is Publius Cornelius Scipio Africanus. And so that's 4 names for just one human being. And you're like, well, how can that be? And so, well, first off, you have the praenomen. That's first name. And then you have the nomen. Like Cornelius is like his clan name, right? And then you have the cognomen, which is like cog means like it's those who you're with, right? So it's so that's why you call it the family name. So he's from the Scipio family out of the Cornelius clan, and his first name is Publius. Then you have the agnomen, which is something that's like really an honorary title. Since he's known as the guy who totally defeated most of North Africa, they called him Africanus. And so often how things worked out is that whenever you were out in public, people called you by your family name. So it's kind of like calling someone by their last name. So people like who would meet him in the streets would call him Scipio. However, his family would call him Publius, but that was one of those things where it was only like family and immediate close friends. It was like a very personal thing. and nobody called him Cornelius because that was just like it'd be like calling you by like I don't know like Texan, or Smith Countyan, something like that really. So it wouldn't make any sense. So whenever we come across this, that's why it's like the way it is. So like but the naming system was a little different back in the ancient days. We're not too worried about that. And so Rome is a flourishing city. It's starting to build up its marketplaces and stuff like that. The time period we're talking about now, it wasn't quite built up like you see here. You just know that it was a place that was thriving in Italy. It's going to start absorbing the other tribes around it. Even though it's so far away from the coast, it's still going to be a place where people go. And a lot of the reason behind that is because they're going to be so good at making this into kind of like a government head, but also really Rome is about conquering. So if you remember, we had one story of Servius Tullius, and he's riding around. He wants to be a great guy, and then an eagle picks his hat off his head. I know this is a grainy picture. Yeah, and it puts it back down. And his wife is someone who likes to read birds, how they fly, and says, well, you're going to be a great person one day, duh. And he's like, well, I can live with that. The eagle was a very special bird to the Romans. It is supposed to symbolize like Jupiter. And so the eagle has been like the symbol for like powerful government or patriotism across many different countries, including America. Your book mentioned the lictors. And so lictors were, early on, they were kind of like the guys who administered justice. You could think of them as guards, cops, executioners, essentially. And they carried around what was called the fasces. And that's where we get the word fascist from, actually. But back then, it didn't have such an evil connotation. But you see here, it had an axe, which could be taken out of the rods and used to behead Romans who broke serious laws. But it had bundled rods around it as well, which was supposed to symbolize the Romans were a people who stuck together. They were united as one. They're stronger. Because if you take sticks and you tie them together, they're stronger, right? But also, it has the thread of justice as well. So unity and justice is what the fascists symbolize. Yes,
That was Caitlin Carter.
So during this time period, they're going to build their sewers. They're going to expand on it later. The Cloacus Maximus.
That's not to know what we have.
Well, it was big enough to go hide in, I guess, if you really had to. You probably wouldn't come out the same way.
I'm a cave.
It's not going to be built up to this level yet, but they're going to build the Circus Maximus. And this is going to be where the Romans' favorite sport is, and that's chariot racing.
Yeah.
It's going to be a massive structure.
What about jousting?
Nah, they would have horseback. Like when we get to like gladiatorial games, yeah, they'll have things where it's like horseback combat. They'll have every kind of combat you can think of, really.
Mortal Kombat?
Yes, Mortal Kombat. But they didn't have jousting's gonna be something that's gonna be like developed later on, really. So yeah, this was of course deadly though. So you'd see they'd have highly trained chariot riders. They have horses also trained and bred for this.
Life is more entertaining then than it is now.
Well, it was definitely shorter, but in many ways it was more cruel. The Romans, like the Greeks, loved having entertainment. But in Roman entertainment, it was less about high ideas and more about action and people dying and violence and stuff like that. So yeah, a lot of times characters died. They would often bump into each other, trying to make each other wreck, stuff like that. So it was a pretty big deal to them. It was like early NASCAR. People watched not to see who would win, but see which car would flip over. Here's the seven hills of Rome. And so you've already been reading a little bit about Capitoline Hill. It's where a lot of their temples and stuff like that to Jupiter and stuff like that, administration of justice will happen. The other ones will be built up later. We'll talk a little bit more about Aventine Hill and Palatine Hill. We're not too much worried about these other ones really. There's the River Tiber, which is where Rome gets a lot of its water, a major source for it. There's the Campus Martius. This is the field of Mars, where the military would muster and do their training and stuff. Oh yeah, here's a picture of poor Servius Tullius. He's an old man. His daughter is going to marry his rival, and then she's going to hire a couple of guys to assassinate him. And then after he's assassinated, she's going to have her chariot driver kind of ride over his dead
Why are
body.
those horses so small?
I don't know.
Those
They
poor
look
things.
small.
They look like they're like just fresh out of the womb. Just okay, pull this.
It's definitely a post-Renaissance painting, but you can definitely see you can see the mood of it. It's a dark
What are
day.
those giant people? Are those statues?
Yeah, those are statues.
Like they're just a giant.
They are very giant statues. So the proportions are a little off, to say the least. But you get the gist of it. She's kind of like after her dad's there dying, she's like driving over him, which is like
A hit and run.
Extremely
They're already
talented.
dead.
yeah. So
It's
whatever
like
you
the
do.
equivalent of driving over already dead roadkill.
Yeah,
Like,
What's her dad too? Like, please, whatever. It's a story to go to show just how corrupt and wicked the monarchy is getting, and one of the reasons why the Romans are just going to be so fed up with kings, they're going to do away with it. The first ones, good, but after they assassinate the last good one, it's going to be bad from then on out. So Tarquinius the Proud, Tarquinius Superbus, is going to, he's going to make a lot of mistakes as ruler of the Roman people. And this is a medieval manuscript, like detailing whenever you have Sibylline. She was like a prophetess or something like that. She comes trying to sell him books that would offer a lot of wisdom. And Tarquinius, being the fool he was, refused to pay the price. So she burned 3 and then another 3. And at last he figured out the game was up. And so he paid for the 3 books. And these would be known as the Sibylline books. And it's supposedly, they don't exist anymore. They've been destroyed. But supposedly they had very strange things written in them, kind of like the Oracle of Delphi type stuff. And in times of great need and disaster, the Romans would send in their priests to read this and try to decipher how to get out of troubling times like plague, war.
Did it work?
Huh?
Did it work?
No, I mean,
Yeah, I think she just scammed them.
yeah, sure. Yeah. Supposedly after this, she vanished. Yeah, I'm sorry. I mean, like if you're like Mr. Wagner, did the Oracle of Delphi really tell the future? I'm like, no. I mean, I'm sorry, no.
Go.
All right,
She looks like she's
They
strung
basically
on
just
that.
smoked weed and then said stuff.
She looks like she's strung on.
Basically just said stuff on her.
yeah, there's some suspicions that in Delphi the girls were inebriated, but we're not entirely sure. Hey, all right, so the last king, Tarquinius Superbus, Tarquinius the Proud, he's going to spend a lot of time taxing the Roman people, living a very licentious life, and then one day he's going to take and defile the daughter of a very powerful Roman. And she's going to be so upset about this that she's going to tell the Roman people what happened and then take her own life. The Romans are going to be so mad that they're going to execute Tarquinius and swear off to never have another king again. And
Look at that guy in the corner. Just like, what's going on in here?
yeah, he's
Pillar like.
well. I think it's like he's hearing the story, like the words getting out. They're like, huh? Yeah, it's like, And so, yeah, there's going to be you can think of like a massive riot. They're going to tear apart the king, and they're also going to swear off all kingly symbols. And symbols of kings were things like robes, scepters, crowns, the color purple. Throughout the ancient world, the color purple was a symbol of monarchies. There was only one place in the world at that time where you could get purple dye.
Snails.
Yeah, it was from
snails.
underwater snails. And the people who could get it knew a little trick on how to get them. They actually had these bags they'd fill up with air, and they were like the first deep divers. And they would take a little air bag, go down, and they would collect these snails. And they had a state secret, never let other people find out how they got this dye. So it was super expensive. And they were the only place in the world that could produce it.
What place was it?
I'm trying to remember. It was near.
Now you go to the store and find the bottom.
It was in it was near Israel. It's off the coast. Gosh,
Persia?
no, it's like a little. No. It was not the Philistines.
Israelites? You could search.
No, they were Greek people who migrated
Oh,
near Israel off the coast.
Antioch.
No.
Is the guy who insulted him in this picture?
What?
Google it. Dang it. I'm trying to remember. Tyr. Yeah.
Higher?
I said that.
And really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and this place will be conquered later on. But yeah, so yeah, they could get purple. And so it's like super duper expensive. Thank you. Google.
It's weird how royal purple is like a blue purple, but the actual royal purple was like pinky purple.
Yeah. Well, they didn't have a lot of options back then, you know. It's like tough.
And when you put it in English,
Huh.
use it. It's weird.
Well, even like today, if you think of I think like a lot of crowns for like the British monarchy. I think they have like that purple felt inside of it, you know. And that's where it comes from. All right, kids. So let's go ahead and let's get our notes for the day. So first off, we have Lucius Tarquinius Priscus. So, is this good king or bad king?
good king.
It was good.
Good king. So
Bad king.
this good king did a lot of changes for Rome. What all did he do for the Roman people?
His son was the one who changed the military.
Yeah, so, but what did Priscus do? Should have been the first guy we were reading about. Like, he,
Oh,
If
you
you-
had the son who was the servant.
yes, he will adopt the servant's son. So,
And then the other two kids that were the kids of the king who died before him.
yeah, because he was supposed to raise
Really
them, but he wanted to be king so bad, he convinced the Romans to pick him.
He was the guardian of King Angus' sons.
Yeah.
And then they killed him.
Yeah. Guardian of Ancus kids. So that's cool. But he did some other things than that. So what all did he do for the Roman?
What is he king number 5?
I think so. 5, 6, 7, yeah.
Oh, I did on the wrong thing.
So- Did he build anything for Rome? Did he?
I think he built a temple for Jupiter.
So we got that. Anything else? So you built it for their head sky person. What else? What else?
Weird. I finally got a pencil.
What other things did he build that were big?
Underground
he did like
sewer.
The sewer, yeah. Yeah. Now, look, it might not sound like a lot, but that's really important for health reasons. So you built temple, sewer system, what else?
Wait, what's that word after sun? Guardian.
Guardian, yeah.
He
prevented
dysentery.
And that's
Guardian of
important.
what?
That's one of the major killers in the world
Wait,
today.
what's
And the
what's the
Circus
word after of?
Maximus. I don't know.
Uncas, King Uncas. So I'm sorry, what'd you say, Brian?
The Circus Maximus.
Yeah, the Circus Maximus. And
That's where we get circus. Epic.
so that's gonna be where the troops are gonna train. So yeah, so it's gonna do a lot of things to build up important parts of the city. We're gonna talk about these parts of the city, well, maybe not the sewer, but the temple, definitely Circus Maximus and Field of Mars are gonna come up throughout your readings later. So you wanna know a little bit about what these are. All right, so Servius Tullius, who is this?
Like
Wait,
the
wait,
slave.
next. What's the word? The field of
Mars, yeah. So yeah, he's the slave boy who becomes king. Was he good or bad?
He's good.
Yeah. A good king.
I love how his name is Servius, like slave. Just really
Yeah, yeah.
slave.
Slave.
Slave boy.
And it's also why his name is different from his adopted father. So he's going to become a good king. And I heard what you say, he's going to reform the military.
Kids killed.
Did he do anything else?
Died.
Died. Yeah. What else?
Let's see. He chose his successor that he made his married daughter bury his rival.
Yes,
Or
yes.
left.
That's kind of messed up though.
Well, that it is if you think about marriage as something
Like a
like in
peace
modern
treaty.
terms having to do with romance. But yeah, often, especially with
That-
royalty, you married your kids off as a way for diplomacy, right?
Sweetheart.
Well, they weren't related.
Yeah, they weren't. So that's a
Oh, they're not
bonus.
related?
That's a
Yeah.
bonus. So-
Never mind.
About
In the ancient world,
And,
that's rare.
Amran, his daughter marry his rival. And so that's not going to be too good for him because he's going to turn out to be a wicked dude. But it turns out she was a
She's
wicked
even
girl.
worse.
Yeah, she's no better. All right, the last king of Rome, Tarquinius. Yeah, so
I love how it's Superbus, but it's
super boss.
I think he gets killed too, right? The term part.
He does. But before that, what does he do?
really good.
Take over.
He conquers a bit.
What did he do to Servius? Yeah,
He went shame.
assassinated Servius.
I'll refund, that's a plus one.
What else happened? So he's going to marry the king's daughter, then have the king assassinated. Yeah, he's gonna send him
Imagine the
some-
age difference between them, though. That makes me uncomfortable.
Well, ancient marriage. I mean,
Like
rarely
comparing
anything does
60-year-olds
romance.
up to like just like maybe 15
Yeah.
at like the oldest.
That's gonna be a very Italian
Like
thing
Mary
too.
Magdalene was would only be like 14 when she gave birth to Jesus. I was
Yeah.
thinking of
I wouldn't say Mary Magdalene.
I knew-
she's a prostitute.
I knew
That's
she was.
different.
I knew she
Hold
was
on.
young. I knew she was young when she was married to Joseph. But yeah, I knew.
And Joseph was like,
Yeah, she was a teenager. Yeah.
he was old enough to
Well,
have
I'd
her.
be
He was
like
old enough to have her.
3 12-year-old
And that's-
wives.
Well, that's when you think about it. Like this could be a very like in Italy, it was like this for a long time too, because like in the Roman days, and then like later on, even through the Renaissance, sometimes men wouldn't get married until they were like in their early 30s. But yeah, they would marry a girl who was like 20 years younger than them. And so, and
The
then
ripe
they,
old age of 10.
in a lot of Italian cities, they had a crisis to where the average life expectancy would be like 40, 45. So you'd have these kids who would have a young mom, but dad already died. And it was just like
What do you do?
Yeah, it was just bad all over.
At least you were 50 when your mom died.
So bad kings, definitely serious.
No, wait, your mom was, she was like 15,
We're just gonna
and
end
you
here
lived
on
to be like 90 years old. You'd only have to live 15 years for that your mom.
All right, Brutus. Who's Brutus?
Brutus is a man.
He's like
He
the dumb
pretended to
one.
be stupid, but he was really quick.
It's dumb one.
Yeah.
Or
Very stupid.
He pretended to be.
Pretended to be a fool. And what does he do for Rome?
Kisses the
He's-
ground.
because of a prophecy or something.
Yes,
Why
yes.
you kiss the floor?
So we're gonna say it takes away the legitimacy of Tarquinius.
I wonder if the oracle was talking about like the actual mother or like mother Earth.
Who knows? He's probably just saying some stuff. And so he's going to ask the Roman people to do what?
So not have a king.
Yes, yes. So told Rome,
To get rid of Tarquinius.
yeah, to abandon monarchies.
And go do something else, but still a dictatorship.
No, they had a republic for like 1 minute, and then
Yeah.
Caesar came along, and then they killed him, and they're like,
It's not going to be a
power
perfect.
vacuum, and then a dictator came in, and they were like,
It's not going to be perfect. Yeah, it's not going to be a perfect republic, but it's going to be. I think you could think of it as almost like a beneficial movement away from monarchies. So, what about Lucretia? What about her?
I don't know.
Like she dies because someone
he's dead.
killed her.
Yeah, she's a daughter of a Roman patrician. So she's a noble. And Tarquinius is actually going to rape her, so he's going to defile her. So,
oh, so the book was just putting it lightly.
yeah.
I was like, I wonder
Oh,
why
like
she just
why
died.
did she
I wonder why
her
she
being
just killed
insulted?
herself.
And so, yeah, he didn't like make fun of her shoe size or something like that. It was much worse than that. By Tarquinius.
Is that Patroclus? Roman Patroclus?
Patroclus?
Oh,
Patrician.
I was like,
See,
I was
I
see you're learning to read. What?
you're so
Be
kind.
patient with him.
Tell